emoji. He's not an AI. AE.
Dan Eboy is here.
Hello, Dan.
And
If you're here.
And they said I'm slightly drunk myself. Chris says, "Good evening, all, and even Judin."
Hello, Chris. There's a whole lot of Volkswagens here for you today, Chris.
Patrick is here.
Hello, Mr. Patrick Sullivan. An unfinished project just came in with some kind of RAM. Is that a RAM?
And let me move this to live messages. Yes. Danny voices hola.
I have a client that asked me for a liquid cooled combi, so I made a list and checked it twice and sent it to him. And these are the ones that I showed him. We're just 2 minutes early. There's no rules, Don. There's no rules, Dan. So tell me which one you like the best. He didn't really give me any parameters on I want the best you have. I want, this, I want that. Just it had to have seats in the back. But I did show him a couple that had camper stuff in the back. So I'm going to add one more that I just talked to the owner today about. But we're in a situation here where how am I going to get the vehicle back? If he sends me the money and everything, how am I going to get the vehicle back? Because in 20 days, the World Cup is coming to Mexico, and they estimate 7 million tourists are going to be here in Mexico City, in Guadalajara, and Monterrey. And most of the vehicles go from there or through there to get down to Veracruz or back here to the border.
You're still mispronouncing that word.
What word?
Monterrey.
I know there's two R's.
Then why did you say with two R's? You have Monterrey Bay in California, so why don't you know how to say that word?
Monterrey. Rey.
Dan says, at wet sand and buff the red one. Chris says, drive it. Patrick says, hello, Mr. and Mrs. Spec. Dan says, stupid tourist.
Yes, Chris, drive it, but the hotels are going to be packed. Everything in town is going to be packed. Because I was telling Mrs. Spec last night that if we have to drive something up from Mexico City, we can drive it up. It's going to be 9 hours to get past Guadalajara to Tepic, Nayarit. And I would never want to stay in that place, but we kind of have to. And then I guess from there, we don't have to stop in Mazatlan. We just drive straight home the next morning.
Hey, Paco's here.
Hey, Paco. Bienvenido.
Chris says, how does one live in Mexico for 25 years and still not speak the language? Good question.
Ask everybody in the United States how they've lived there for 30 years and not speak the language. I speak the language here. The taxi driver that brought us home yesterday said I speak better Spanish than he does. So
he was being polite.
I'll take his word for it.
He was being polite.
I can't assume that.
Uh-huh.
I can't assume that.
Paco says, hola amigos, aquí andamos al pendiente. Gracias, Paco. Dan says, are them
Fuchs?
I'm sorry.
It could be, Dan. They could be replicas because Mexico.
CD Burlock is here.
Hello, CD Burlock.
And they say, we are too cheap for the second R, Mrs.
That's true. I'm more used to my Mercury Monterrey than Monterrey in Mexico because the city here has 2 R's and the car has 1 R.
What about the Monterrey Bay in California?
That's 1 R.
Is it?
Yes.
Oh. Chris says, if the client buys a camper, you can just sleep in it instead of a hotel room.
That is not a safe thing to do. Just parking on the side of a highway in Mexico. You probably will not survive the night.
No. Dan says, I speak very poor Espanol.
I don't speak any.
The Burlock says, all my neighbors don't speak 3rd grade English.
A lot of people have trouble with English over there. It's too common. Like, what grade did you finish? That's what I want to know. And how do you not copy the people on the television. You continue with your not finishing words and changing words and all kinds of stuff. Then I got two clients for Amigas, my previous client, and another guy in San Diego, California. He says, "Don't worry about registering it here." I said, "Fine, not my problem." Um, got a guy that wants a 2001 Volkswagen Beetle in emerald green. Of course, he's the same guy that wanted the Dodge Dart, but now he says he only wants a Magnum and he can't do it till October. So it's a waste of time. There was one more Volkswagen guy. Oh, a Safari. I have to get back with him. But I do not want to be driving a Safari from Mexico City to Veracruz on those roads. That would be not comfortable at all.
Mm. Silverlock says, Miguel, they don't watch English TV on purpose.
I'm not talking about immigrants. I'm talking about people that live in the South and people that live in Boston. Boston. Yeah. Like Mrs. Spec used the television, used songs, used um, subtitles to learn English. That's what people need to do. This red van is not bad, but it does not have original seats in it. It has seats from a Mercedes. Mercedes something. I'm not sure if they want that or they want completely original. They didn't give me any parameters. So it's kind of hard. I just threw a bunch of stuff on it.
Chris is Boston.
Right. You're close enough to know, Chris. And then he didn't tell me if he wants the 89 with the lower roof or the 93 with the higher roof. There's all kinds of options with the liquid cooled Volkswagen vans. Most of them were cargo vans that have been converted. They installed windows on the side. They put seats in the back, so you got to be careful with one of those. But a real Caravel that had factory seats in it and stuff, those are 300,000 to 400,000 pesos here. So I don't know if they want to spend that much. But the guy said that he has no problem coming over in Nogales and coming in and taking delivery of it. So I want to get him a van, because if I can get one up here somehow, then I could just go to the border. We won't be bothered with the World Cup stuff.
Mm-hmm. Silverlock says they have no desire to learn.
Most people don't.
I'm gonna go get water since I forgot to get water.
Okay, I got my water here.
Yeah.
So no, you don't steal my water. No stealing of water. I don't share my water. You guys remember Friends? Joey doesn't share his French fries with his girl with his dates. I don't share my fries. Believe is here.
I believe.
Hello, Believe.
I went to get water. Can you open me this one?
Where'd this come from?
The fridge.
How do we have a new water?
Oh, because we watered to go to trips and stuff.
Didn't know it was in there. The major thing to ask on these vans is, has the timing belt been changed recently? Because I'm going to have to drive it a long way. Dan has never once watched Friends.
How dare you? No, I'm just kidding. I cannot watch this one. It's not for everyone.
Hey, buddy.
Dance is no problems. I got a ban.
Come on.
What? What? I don't know where you
left. Buddy's here.
Hey, Buddy. I didn't say hi to Buddy.
You did not?
No, I said hi to Believe. Hey, Buddy.
Buddy is from Boston.
Boston. Hello from Boston. Chris says, I haven't watched Friends either. That's okay.
Oh, okay.
It's like, yeah, it's not for everyone. I liked it when I was watching it when I was younger, but as I got older, I was like, why am I watching this? Like, honestly.
One of the main characters was a couple of years before me in my high school, and one of Joey's girlfriends was my friend's stepdaughter. She kept hitting him in the shoulder over and over and over again.
Dan says none of the friends had hot rods, so nothing in common. Yeah, fair.
They're from New York. New Yorkers aren't car people.
Where was uh,
Sorry, Chris.
where was
The city of New York.
where was Seinfeld from?
Seinfeld was set in New York but filmed in Los Angeles.
But they had cars.
Yes, he had a car. He had cars.
Dean is here, and I say, all right, after you, buddy. Happy Memorial Day.
Hey, Dean.
Is it Memorial Day? Silverlock says, Miguel, the link I sent you is pretty amazing about China and retro cars.
I haven't had a chance to look at it. It's still there.
Dan says, I dislike Seinfeld too. Yeah. Steven Andrews is here.
Hello, Stephen Andrews one. How are you?
Dice, hola. Dean says, Silverlock, okay, Leprechaun, hi. Steven Andrews 2 is here.
Hey, Stephen Andrews 2. How are you?
And they say, oye, ¿cómo van? Mi ritmo. Dean says, that Evoid, me and Kramer are like that.
Hey, if you guys want to become members, I posted the video for members only of Mrs. Spec dancing at the wedding.
I hate you.
4 minutes of Mrs. Spec dancing
I hate you.
in her beautiful red dress,
I hate you.
and only Mo Parquet saw it. But then I looked at it today, and it says it has zero.
That's
it has
weird.
0 views.
That's
Her
weird.
view disappeared. But what we're going to be doing is, like, tonight we're going to go out because money was donated last week. We're going to go out and buy Mrs. Spec a hot dog or whatever, or corn or whatever she wants, and we're going to record that. So more like the personal stuff is going to be the membership videos. More about us.
Mark Sobe is here.
Hello, Mark. How are you today? This man has teak wood on the headliner and on the floor, but it's obvious that it was not a passenger vehicle to begin with.
But the car Fernandez had to like Al Bundy for his duster.
The mighty Dodge, which was not a Dodge.
Mark Sobe is getting better.
Were you sick?
Chris says,
I must have missed that.
I like this two-tone combi the best so far.
With the teak? Somebody put a lot of work into the interior, the seats and all that stuff.
Particular says, I watched Friends before I watched Cheers. I really didn't like that show.
Hello, Barry.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, yeah, Barry. Hi, Barry. Oh, jeez.
Cheers was repetitive, which I think they wanted it that way. You know, Norm came in, did his little one-liner. You know, this basically the same thing happened. Not much growth anywhere.
Dan like Cheers. Likes Cheers. And Dean says, me and Norm were like that too. Barry says, hello, Chris. Silverlo says, Barry, what about Becker?
I don't think I ever saw a whole episode all the way through of Becker. That was Ted Danson. The next show that he did, he was some kind of psychiatrist or something, some kind of doctor.
Marcia Stevenson, hey man. Paul is here.
Hello, Paul.
They say hello, Mr. and Mrs. Mexican Spec. Dan says, I'm claving without a postal Clavin without a postal uniform, sorry.
I don't go into bars, so it's a foreign environment for me. You're not going to go into a bar here without the music blasting, so a show like Cheers just doesn't exist here.
It's in a bar, but no, not really. Regular says, I didn't like that sharp-tongued barmaid.
That's Danny DeVito's wife. How can you not like her? Rita something.
Dan says, that dancer was banging Whoopi Wilbur.
I didn't need to hear that.
Fernando says, interesting wheels on the Volkswagen bus.
They try to dress him up, but I like them with the original wheels and the small hubcaps on them, just as stock as they can be.
Regular says, yes, I like Becker. Silverlock says, the DC girl in Becker is in anger management. Really cute.
Rhea Perlman. There we go, Chris. Close enough.
Rhea Perlman?
Yeah. My cousin, a female cousin, interviewed with Danny DeVito and Rhea Perlman to be a nanny for their kids. And after the interview, they told her, "No, we'll only hire a Jew from what was that place in New York that has the fair at the it's like a carnival at the water. Can't remember what it's called, but he will only hire Jews from a certain area of New York where they used to live, and this was in California. So it was a waste of her time. I don't know if I would want to be. I don't want would want to take care of Danny DeVito's children or any actor. There you go.
Coney Island?
Yeah, I don't think I would want to take care of any actor's children.
Manhattan?
No, not Manhattan. It's Coney. Yeah, Coney Island, that area. You get kids that don't listen to anybody, and you can't like bury them in the backyard. You're supposed to say, Dan, Jinx, you owe me a Coke. See, actually, since you were later, Dan, I show Chris first, so you owe Chris a Coke.
Was he out there a Mexican cook?
Whatever they decide. There's lots of things that identify as Coke these days.
There.
Lots and lots and lots. Different flavors, different levels of sugar.
Brando says, triple jinx, no Coke, Pepsi.
No Pepsi. No Pepsi. No.
Chris says, make sure it's a Mexican Coke. Barcada says, the guy that played Cliff was in a movie filmed here in New Zealand, Battle Truck.
And he's also in every Pixar movie.
Dan says, I am paying no 50 cents for no Coke. Dean says, the Barbary pirates or corsairs would have kept the barmaid's head up, Barcada. Head up? Hey, Kim,
Hello, Kim.
I can pronounce it. I can pronounce it fast.
Kim, did you buy a membership?
No, she was given one last
She
time.
was?
Yeah, that's why she say hi. That she was just say.
Oh, okay.
It says Buff is watching, but it's horizontal at the moment.
Okay. Kim, did you watch the video of Mrs. Spec dancing that I posted?
You're gonna tell everyone, aren't you?
Every member has to watch it and then comment on it.
Okay. It's obligatory. Okay, yeah. I see. Okay.
Now this van I like because of the understated color, the titanium type color. It looks nice.
Barracuda likes Pepsi, so now we have to ban him from the channel.
No Pepsi, Barracuda. No Pepsi.
Says,
no Mexican Pepsi. Let's put it that way.
Steven says cheeseburger.
He didn't finish the word, Steve. It's cheeseburger.
Chris says, Dan, damn it, you beat me to the Caddyshack quotes. Dean says, Ufala tied up. Sorry, Ted Danson. Fernando says, no fries, chips.
Mm-hmm. No fried chip.
What are you guys talking about?
Saturday Night Live. Sure. Original year, 1975, 1976.
City Burlock says, how we torture immigrants from Mexico here. Threaten to make them drink Dr. Pepper.
I just saw they're selling Dr. Pepper and different flavors of Dr. Pepper at Walmart here. Just what are they, 500 milliliters or 600 milliliters or something? But I have no desire to drink it, no matter what flavor it is.
Kim says, mine was a gift membership. I will check out the video.
Please. And tell me how you think her dancing is.
Oh
You
yeah.
can comment on her friends too. That's
Stop.
acceptable.
Stop. So says she will give me. Dean says Kimbergini doesn't fix voting, but I'm sure she'll watch it. Glenn Nickerson is here.
Hello, Glenn.
Maricota says, "What's wrong with Mexican Pepsi?"
It's horrible. Any more questions?
Glenn Nickerson says, "No Coke, Pepsi."
No, 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 not in Mexico. Pepsi's cheaper here and does not taste good at all. Virtually none of the products that they make, because it's not, see, every town has a bottler of Pepsi and a Coke. So they bottle all of the flavors and they deliver them locally. Coke is pretty much what everybody goes for, but if they have less money, they'll buy the Pepsi. Pepsi is much cheaper than Coke here, but it's because of the flavor. It's not good. Every once in a while, I'll drink a 7 Up because Pepsi here makes the 7 Up. But other than that, no.
Dean says, "City Burlock, how could they?" City Burlock says, "Cherry or strawberry cream." Dr. Pepper.
They had cream soda, Dr. Pepper cream soda here. I don't need to spend the money on it. I've never been a fan of cherry cola.
Which I'm surprised about. Dan says, "Mountain Dew."
There's no Mountain Dew or any type of product like that here. Nothing like that here.
Dean says, "It's even Stevens." Hi, Mr. Andrews. Thunderbird is here.
Hello, Thunderbird.
Thunderbird says, "Hey all, listening while I work on the 77."
Oh, good. What are you doing today?
Well, he's working.
Yes, but on what?
Yeah, but he's working, so he's not gonna be able to answer you.
Nobody's listening. He can do the voice to text. Yeah.
Dan says, "Jarito slime." My girlfriend says, "Sprite."
It takes a lot for me to drink a Sprite, especially since they went away from the green bottles.
Glenn Nickerson says, that was the SNL sketch. Cheeseburger, cheeseburger, cheeseburger." I'm
Yep.
a Coke guy.
Yep. From the best they ever had. Dan Aykroyd, the same guys that did the Blues Brothers.
Are you guys gonna see the movie
What
that
movie?
they made about the SNL?
Why?
Why not?
Because that's somebody's opinion of what happened. I already know what's happened from day one.
Hmm. Thunderbird says, "Working on getting the choke heat tubes repaired."
Are they all rusted through, or are you just trying to clean them out?
Thunderbird says, "Thunderbird, I saw some Canadians in Bake Filipinos. What's Bake? Barracuda says, "Cherry Coke tastes like sarsaparilla to me instead of cherries."
Sarsaparilla. He put an extra A in there. That's what they served in the Old West. I don't know how he knows what it tastes like though.
Dean
How old
says,
are you, Barry?
"Body Carafano, one must look like, one must look after the little people."
I put some oldies but goodies in here. This 47 Cadillac limousine, Series 75. Not a bad car, but it worries me when there's no license plate on it. Hasn't been registered for 50 years. Just sitting at someone's house.
Barracuda says 98.
That's not old enough to have experienced the Old West.
It's pretty old though. Congratulations. Chris says, "I'm actually quite partial to cherry Coke."
I don't think I've tried the cherry Coke from Coca Cola.
Sunset traditional lenses doesn't match.
That doesn't surprise me.
Believe says, "Someone handled me a pamphlet with crocodile rank from best to worst. I said, enough with your crocodile tears." You're laughing. You're laughing. Stop it.
I'm also shaking my head.
No.
Shaking my head came first, and then the smile came second.
Glenn Nicholson says at Picar night, I'm liking it.
Well, there's not too many. We're gonna start getting into other ones, but I haven't seen these before, so I put them on there.
Silverlock says Miguel, there is a store that sells all the old sodas in glass in the USA.
Are the bottles recyclable, or do you just throw them away afterwards?
Firefly is here.
Hey, Vilefly.
Hey, Firefly. Firefly clings to a slice of key lime pie. Oh, I want some key lime pie.
Why do you people put up unedible stuff? If it's not chocolate, it's not pie.
It is fine.
No. Chocolate.
Chris says hi to Firefly.
Chocolate.
Barcuda says they sold cherry coke in New Zealand in the 80s for a while, but it went away. Firefly says good afternoon all. Hi driveway. Dean says because Barracuda is a doyen of awesome knowledge and is considerably more experienced there than you. He just doesn't say it. He's driven an AP6 Valiant Mexican Spectre.
I can't say that I have, Dean.
Thunderbird says the heat tubes were missing. Was about to scavenge some from the junkyard.
You might not be able to find them intact because stuff like that rusts out quickly, especially where you are. You may have to make them.
Chris says to Barracuda, are there any sodas that are native to New Zealand? Dan says, which is for a slice of key lime pie. Oh, me too. Dean says, eat this. No, don't eat Mr. Spec.
Nope.
Silverlock says, only a TV documentary. Muffler says, the wife went shopping with me. It's her fault.
I can't imagine me driving one of these across the country either for a delivery. A wheelies pickup.
Where will we put our luggage?
In the back?
Where? No.
Yes.
It will be stolen.
Well, yeah, but that's how you do it with pickup trucks. That's how pickup people are.
Butterfly says, I had to offset the pie with St. Louis style ribs.
Okay, well that's better. That's more back on my page.
Did you saw the video that I sent you?
Of what?
Of the food.
No.
You have to see it.
Why?
It is worth it.
Is it gonna make me hungry?
Yes.
Then I don't want to see it.
It's in Guadalajara though.
I think I saw that, but I don't know where it would be.
Papa says I have to sit. Oh no. Dean says Mrs. Superfly. Superfly. I bet she's hot. Barracuda says yes, Chris. There's a drink called lemon and Piora. Thunderbird says, yeah, I'm having a rebend part.
I'm having to rebend part.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I always have trouble with the
exhaust parts, which is that what that is, rust out because of the high temps and all that. And you do need your choke up there. We don't need a choke here, but you guys need it up there. Definitely. For sure.
For sure.
Definitely. For sure.
Quit it! Barracuda says decades ago there was a cola made in Dunedin called Milk Cola.
I'm assuming it's not made there anymore.
Chris says Wikipedia says that L&P is made by Coca-Cola now.
They buy everything.
Dean says Lemon and Piora is named after Jamie Atwood and Tom's shared services guy, Alan P.
Oh, I'm sure.
Cityborlog says, Thunderbird, can you make them out of stainless? Use a brake cable to keep the tube from folding? Dean says, literally.
Literally. Which very few people know what that word means. Literally.
I know what it means.
The world is ending, literally. But use it anyway. Alan P.
Dan says my aunt and uncle had an identical Avon.
Just before I left Las Vegas, I bought it at an impound sale, an A108 van that used to be military or something, but the proportion seemed off on it to be the longer one and everything. I never did anything with it.
Dean says y'all get it later. I think it's a joke. LNP,
Mm-hmm.
literally LNP. Is it a joke? Did you get it? I don't get it.
LNP. Yes.
Firefly says, so far my gauge projector's code is done. The AI wrote it all quickly. Turned the gauge into a Wi-Fi hotspot that broadcasts the car's scan data to my phone also.
So have you driven around a lot with it and seen what it does when you do 100 miles an hour? Is it to check to see if it's accurate?
Chris says, Dean, I got it, Dean, even with your Kiwi accent. Dean says, like Elon Frost. Butterfly says, so the phone becomes an OBD1 scanner. Dean says, tastes like it sounds too, driveway. Dan says, my phone is my only OBD2 scanning capability.
I just take it down to AutoZone if I need the Durango scanned. I don't need to buy the scanner or have one in my phone. It's the only vehicle I have with OBD2, being a 2000 model. Not a Hemi. That's a lie. It's only a 318 under the hood.
Dan says, I need only an inch or so of wire to scan my OBD1 car. EEC4.
Yeah, but you also need to know what the codes mean that it gives you.
Oh.
Bobby pin, Dean.
Dean says hair clips work too.
Mm-hmm.
Buffa says I had it programmed for 120 miles per hour. I will be wiring up to the car this weekend. Had to wait for some diodes to arrive.
Oh, okay.
Dan says not a 440 either.
That doesn't mean 440. That's a Coronet 440 is the model name. Galaxy 500 doesn't have a 500 under the hood either. Galaxy 500 could have had a 302 under the hood.
Mm.
Same with a Fairlane 500.
Pergola says in the 70s, I remember you couldn't really get Coca-Cola in Dunedin. If you wanted a bottle or two, the railways buses brought a few down from Christchurch.
Why would you not have Coca-Cola? Coca-Cola owns the world.
In the 70s?
Yes.
City Burlock says, Dan, the older scanners O'Reilly's sold had OBD1 pigtail. Pablo says, I will check the accuracy with my phone's GPS. Dan says to City Burlock, I've never had a dedicated scanner.
Why would you need to scan a car like the 87 Mustang? You pretty much know everything about it. There's nothing the computer is going to tell you that you don't already know. Not hard to figure out.
Pablo says, but the AI already knew about GM's 4,000 count per mile output from the ECM. City Burlock says, Dan, your new wave.
How do you like this Beetle, Chris? Pretty clean for its age.
Very fly for a white guy.
Very fly for a green Beetle. Dean says flashes 11-65 are on the back of the service manual for star readers. AI mixes the codes up between 2.3, 5.0, and 3.8. The 3.3 and 4.2 Mustang, 2.3 carb turbo didn't get OBD1.
Oh, I'm glad you read that one.
You don't really need a computer to tell you anything on those cars anyway.
Because it's quite a bit different than an American/European 68.
Very different, yes. They kept all of the old parts, all of them.
Very good assistant again.
So you have the 12-volt system with the old looking car, and it's good. It's nice.
The Instant Green Bug trademark.
Beetle.
Green Beetle trademark.
Here's another Barracuda 69 model, 318 under the hood, 4-speed. It looks like they painted too much on the car, like the hood scoops. I think the entrance to the hood scoops, even though they're fake, should be black, so it looks like it's an entrance.
Superlux says, Miguel, my 1990 Buick Century was OPT1. Codes would come and go. Erasers if you shut it off.
So keep shutting it off.
Fernando says, woo! You like how I read the text message?
Yeah.
Dan says, lose those scoops.
They're already there, Dan. There's going to be holes in the hood.
Polycarpana says, being rust-free for its age is amazing. In Boston, that beetle a pile of dust.
Not so here, buddy.
Chris says, personally, I prefer the 68 newer Beetle styling, as well as the KC, or sorry, as well as the combis. Don't ask me why.
I won't.
Bergola says, sister city to Edinburgh. Dean says, every time I go outside the city limits, I improve the average IQ of the whole city. I mean, same.
If you do say so yourself, Dean.
Biofly says, Ford computers told you nothing important until the arm was twisted in 1996 to force them to comply with OBD2 standards. They were the last to comply with misfire detection too.
That's the whole fun of working on an older car. If you have a misfire, you get to diagnose which one it is and why it is. You don't need a computer telling you anything. Be a mechanic. Get one of the old Sun machines and push the button for each cylinder to knock it out and see which one doesn't change the idle. That's how you do it.
And then after you're done, you ask it, does your character has glasses? And if it doesn't, you pull it down. You put it down. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Obviously.
Wait, where was I?
Dean.
Dean says the Blackbirds in Dunedin have an IQ of 75 in the city and 81 when they go outside of the city. Is that proven?
I'm sure there's been a scientific
Why are we yawning
investigation
so
on
much?
that.
What the hell? Stop it.
Just keep reading.
Dan says Ford EC4 OBD1 does have a wiggle test mode and an injector balance test and maybe something else like that. Polycarpano says yellow and red McDonald car.
Yes.
Steven Andrews says, how many pesos for that Mexican CUDA?
Too many.
Chris says, nice things about older Chrysler vehicles. Cycling the key 3 times will show you the error codes on the dash. No reader needed. Glenn Nickerson says, the yellow-red combo hurts my eyes.
Turn the contrast down on your screen.
Firefly says, output state check, Danny Boy. Then Dean says, when Somalis come to stay, the food increases to the IQ level of the eater. Barracuda says the Barracuda's upholstery is very similar to a New Zealand Spec AP6 Valiant.
They come that bright?
Cyrano says red and yellow, weird color combo, looks like McDonald's.
The problem is that there's no codes to tell you what it was originally before somebody took it all apart and painted it the yellow and red.
Mm-hmm.
And even if there is codes, there's no way to decode the codes.
Butterfly says red and yellow reminds me of McDonald's. Dan says, yes, it's been a while since I've messed with it. Butterfly says, quick, get some pickle pillows in that car. Lester Lesaver's here.
Hello, Lester.
Hey, Lester. It's a hairy one. Ronald McDonald's Barracuda.
Easy to put the golden arches on the outside of the car.
Fair. Dan says mustard and ketchup.
Right.
Dean says, well, for the first 4 months, the Barracuda was a Valiant.
Years.
Barracuda says, I like yellow, but not that bright.
The first 3 years.
St. Andrew says, yes, my 95 Eagle Vision will flash the codes like that. Dan says, one of the best looking cars AMC made right there, right here.
This is a very nice looking AMC. They call it a classic here, but what was a Rebel over there? Got a really nice roof line. I like the front end, looks mean. Tail lights aren't too bad either.
Glenn says, nice SSD, rare car.
Nice. I don't need that. Nice big tail lights so you can see when somebody's changing lanes.
Very good.
And I know you guys don't like the overriders on the bumpers, but I like them as long as they don't block the headlights. I saw one on a car, and the overrider went right across the middle of the headlights. Like, what good is that? You're not gonna be able to see anything.
Fireplace is nice. Chris says, that is a sharp looking car.
And it's 3 on the tree, so it's fun too.
Dean says, oops, Barracuda. Hey, a Barra in a Cuda. How good would a nice 4.0 POHC bird Barra 6 go in a tank? Just dangle it by the feet into the engine bay. To the world says Miguel, in the 1990 V6 3.3 liter GM had batch fuel injection. One bad injector shorted the whole system, killed the engine after it tries to start. Baffled my mechanic because it was intermittent.
Well, then you know you're not going to just have a miss in one cylinder. You're going to know what it is. And I guess you would just replace all the injectors, right?
Dan says 303.
Yep.
Baffled says weird bumper.
It's Mexican. It's a Mexican thing.
Barracuda says, yes, the Australian AP6 Valiant V8 with Barracuda bucket seats. Barracuda automatic floor shifter 273 V8.
Are those worth a lot of money these days?
Dean says, my dad's 1975 TD Cortina XL had the same rubber riders.
Yeah, you got to protect the tail lights and the grill and everything.
Dan asked, 282?
No, I doubt it. Probably the 4.2 liter.
Firefly says, I was there, Cirebullock, learned the same hard lesson, required math to solve, resistor in parallel. Glenn Nicholson says, sorry, Spec, the override looks like a bent shower curtain rod.
But it has a purpose. It's for protection. I'd rather have that than broken taillights.
Bafla says the injectors had to be tested hot or it didn't count.
The fly knows. He's been there, done that. CD Burlock says he found it by disconnecting the injectors until it ran.
Barracuda says, yes, getting valuable and are rare.
I wonder how much one of those over there is worth compared to what an average selling price is for a Barracuda over in the US. Because remember, most of the cars in Mexico were the slant six. You had very special cars like that Barracuda that has the emblem on the side for the 318. Very few cars got the V8 that year. So, it's even more valuable here, being that it's a factory car. Told you there'd be a lot of Volkswagens for you, Chris.
Mavla says, I could not disconnect the injectors. 3.1 liter with the flat top manifold, no access. So I used math to find out what the parallel resistance was supposed to be.
Do the math. Do the math. It's too bad these AMC cars aren't worth anything. I would really love to specialize in them.
Your beard grows really fast.
Yes, it does. Chris is enjoying the Volkswagens.
Yay. Buffalo says batches of three wired in parallel.
But was it a common thing that happened to those cars, or every once in a while? I didn't like the cars that didn't have distributors. The Buick Centuries and all of those cars. I didn't like the ones that had the that was computer controlled. Didn't trust it.
Dan says impressive Butterfly. I am not that literate electronically. Butterfly says common after an overheat. Triple says 3.1 looked ugly to me. I have 3.8 now. Chris says three resistors wired in parallel equals one-third of their rated resistance. Dan says, but I have nonetheless sleuted out a few difficult faults in my day.
That's sleuth.
Sleuthed.
Sleuth.
Sleuthed. There is obviously an ed at the end of that.
Yes. Sleuth. So he detected.
Sleuthed.
He was a detective.
Sleuthed.
Can we call this plum crazy? The 76 Duster? Somebody painted it purple. Lots of purple. It did not come originally purple. Definitely not. But it is definitely a 76 because they only used the Dart Sport taillights in 73 with no trim panel in the back, or 76 with the trim panel in the back and Plymouth front end. That exhaust would get cut off immediately, Dan. That's a first, or back it into something, bend it. That's the first thing I would do. I have an exhaust shop here. You take it in there, they start welding on it, and you get out really quick, and it's cheap. So I don't worry about exhaust.
Chris says the purple on that car makes me grimace.
Do you
Why?
know the meaning of that?
Grimace?
Uh huh. No.
Like
McDonald's.
no, I know.
Grimace was the character that promoted the shakes, and he was very, 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 very purple.
Oh, no. Cerebral says also GM updated the injectors because they click too loudly.
Yeah,
Paul says the exhaust must be excited.
it is. Very excited to get away from the car.
Barracuda says 35,000 to 60,000 for an AP6 B8.
That's about in line for those Barracudas. People are paying for those.
Dan says another 3 on the 3. Bowfly says here's a quick way to test a distributorless ignition module. Hook up a piece of element speaker to the crank sensor. Input onto the module. Power it up, and tap on the piece of element. Random spark equals okay. Dan says I love
Okay.
it. Dan says I love it. Bowfly says I like the GM flat top manifold. Room to lay your tools on top.
Until it starts and shakes them all off. I could have sworn I had a Mustang 2 taillight here somewhere. I haven't seen it in a long time. It would work in this car because it has two broken taillights. But looks like somebody painted the side panels, and you might notice right there that there's no factory seatbelt. It's got the fill thing there, so it fills the hole from the factory, but there's no factory seatbelts in this car, at least not in the back.
Oh,
Mustang 2. Mustang 2. I'm sweating.
oh my baby.
Automatic. Now it's gonna make more noise.
Fine.
Don't talk. I want to see the register. It doesn't. You guys see the green Mustang 2 that I posted yesterday? Maybe it came out today.
Publishers have all kinds of cheats for testing OBD1 systems. They say, I learned the hard way.
Yeah.
Dan says, we don't need to no sticking seatbelts. I do, especially when I'm going on the highway.
We've had too many cars with no seatbelts or seatbelts that don't work. It's a giveaway in these Ram Chargers that if the seatbelt is stuck like in the passenger seat, the seatbelt doesn't come out, then it's had some kind of trauma in the front end of the truck. And they just did not replace the seatbelt. So I don't know how you would replace the seatbelt inside the seat of that truck. Dan says, the more you understand, the less difficult it is. Yeah, it wasn't a sophisticated system. Dean. Hello, Joey. Dean. They'd like to drop a Barra Turbo 6 into a Barracuda and glue a 25-inch flathead Chrysler 250 heads on top of the twin cam engine just to wind up Ford guys. Damn, I don't understand that much. CD. Columbo's old car didn't have seatbelts. Took it to do driver's test. Well, it probably didn't come with it. It was so old and Italian. Did he explain that it had no seatbelts from the factory? And did they give him a pass on it? The green Mustang coupe that I posted today is a 4-speed. It's got an engine out of it from an F-150, and it's in the very, very tip of the state of Guerrero, where Acapulco is. Acapulco is on the other side of the state, at the ocean, of course. But if we fly into Mexico City, we can take a bus and just barely get into Guerrero, buy the car, and get the hell out. Colombo's car was a Peugeot 403. Yeah, something like that. I think it was a convertible too.
Molecularly.
What are you getting now? You just ate.
I'm hungry.
Well, you better be hungry for the hot dog. I'm not going to waste money and you're not going to eat it.
It's gonna be hours because I have to feed you first.
That's true.
That is true.
That doesn't mean you're going to get more hungry later. Dean, the more you learn, the more you can forget. The more you forget, the less you know. Yeah, but it's a process. Biofly. Any electric DC motor will respond to a hammer blow. This includes blower motors, wiper motors, electric fuel pumps, etc. There are some exceptions, but not for OBD1 vehicles. Televisions also used to respond to that as long as you don't hit the screen.
Trevor says the test guy got out and walked back to DMV.
Well, he should follow the rules. You're not required to put seatbelts in a car that didn't have them from the factory.
Glenn Nicholson says my hot rod doesn't have seatbelts and the seat is not bolted down either. It's been on the road for 36 years.
But is it held down by bungee cords? Because that would be acceptable.
Is it?
No.
Barracuda says, do they still have cliff divers in Acapulco?
I can't tell you, Barracuda, because nobody goes there anymore. It's not a tourist spot. Nobody even thinks about Acapulco anymore. I mean, some locals go there. I've seen people go there, but it's not a destination for tourists anymore.
Pablo says, the TV bank test. I call it the NASA test. Dean says, Cliff Richards is in Portugal.
I saw an episode of Joker's Wild today from 1972, and one of the prizes was going to a hotel in Mexico City. So I put it on pause, went and looked up the hotel. It used to be Fiesta America. Now it's Fiesta Americana because a different company bought it, and that's their brand. But it's still there, still operating under the same name and everything. It's only been, 54 years? There's different cars in the parking lot these days, though. Much uglier cars.
Dan says, it's so funny. That air intake. Jay Weiss is here.
Hello, Jay Weiss.
Jay Weiss says, are you following Mexico as the Soccer World Cup starts soon?
Yes, we know that. We are dreading 7 million people coming to Mexico and filling up the hotels and the restaurants and the streets and the airports and the bus stations and everything else that I might need if I need to go get a car that I sell.
Yeah.
So yes, I'm thinking about that's involved in all of my planning.
But if we're following the World Cup, no, we're not
No,
following
I
the
don't
World
care
Cup.
about soccer.
Bowfly says, "Oh my God, Joker's Wild. Haven't heard of that show in years."
I have some kind of connection to the show because I cannot remember. I don't have any independent memories, but I think I went with my family to watch it being filmed in Hollywood, but I cannot I cannot remember being there or anything.
Dean says, "Cliff Driver isn't famous. Only Cliff Barton, Cliff Richards, and Cliff Martinez." But the Carafana says, my luck. I get a non-car guy at DMB to argue over seatbelts, and we're never there. That we're never there.
Tell him to ask his supervisor.
Dan says, Cliff Clavin.
Yeah, this Blazer here, this is the 1978 K5 4x4 that I had a client on 2 years ago. Talked to the owner. He says, "I'm out of this. I'm out. This is in Veracruz, by the way.
Mm.
I'm out of the. I'll be back in January. I have not contacted him, but I think the guy still wants it, and it's not a lot of money for a 78 K5 Blazer, but it's in Veracruz, which is near the water, so I'm not sure about the rust on it. But he says runs good, air blows cold, everything on it. So it may be something that I might start promoting pretty soon. Does not have Veracruz license plates on it though.
JY says, the Fall Guy truck is best Chevy truck.
GMC.
Bartola says, Portugal will be a nice place to live.
How do you know
So
that?
I've heard.
You need to know the language though.
Yeah. Dean says, is football Mexican Spectre Batman?
It's football. Futbol. Football. Football is American.
Wait. Bartola says, the game's a foot.
Yes, it is.
Danny Boy says, Montgomery Cliff.
I don't know how anybody can be interested in soccer with as boring as the games are.
Not that
Back and forth,
boring.
back and forth, back and forth. Oh, the guy fell down. He's holding his leg. Nobody ever came near him. Oh, he's
You've never
crying.
seen the feminine like
He's
then.
crying. They're taking him off the field.
Chris says Vin Simmons, he said football sounds like soccer because of his California accent. JY says Hollywood is dead as it is the music industry. No great movies with stars and no more top 100 music charts.
There's nothing that I want to run to the movie theater to see.
Papa says, oh, a winch on it too.
Yep.
City Warlock says, what price for K5?
It's not a lot, but it's down at the port. So I could ship it over to Florida easily, but I don't think I would bring it back up here. I haven't looked at the listing in quite a while though.
Dances football. Dances Western wheels on the Blazer.
I'm sure it's gonna need tires. I'm
Dean
sure of it.
says the Europeans invented it. Then the Scottish, English, Welsh, Irish, Hawkers, and Americans bastardized into Spec, League, Aussie rules with iron. What I mean, the Europeans invented. You mean football?
Which one though?
Which one? Because there is literally a specific football that the Mexicans invented, the Aztecs. So I'm confused. Triborlock says food is a brand here of meat. Yeah,
It is here too.
yeah, of cold cuts.
Yeah.
Barracuda says, have you seen a game of rugby?
No,
I've seen like shorts. Barracuda says, I have no idea about the rules of rugby.
me either.
I know it can be very violent and very gay. JY says soccer comes from word
Did
association
you say
football.
very gay?
Yes, because they grab their each other's like they grab their pants and they grab their crotches and stuff like yeah.
Mm.
But I mean not gay, but like if you're gay you can enjoy it a lot. Anyway.
Okay.
JY says soccer comes from the word association football soccer. Pablo says looks crazy. Dan says some of those fuckers were I can't pronounce that word.
Messerschmitts.
Thank you. Dean says, ouch, I forgot. Whoopee. Pablo says, Rio 2 on that German wagon?
Yes, it is.
Paul says, nice wagon.
Mexican 302 Firefly.
Chris says, rugby is mostly a college sport here and not one of the more popular ones. Dean says, hola, go. Triple says, do you see Toyota Land Cruisers or Forerunners?
Very rarely. You're talking about the older ones, I assume, not the newer ones. They sell newer ones at the dealership, but the older ones, no, not really.
Buddy Carfana says, rather watch soccer than golf. Fair, fair.
I don't watch golf either. I don't understand why anybody would.
JY says, yes, Aztecs and even Egyptians played a form of soccer, but English created rules teams and started that around 1888.
Why did you miss what Dean said?
Go, go.
Gale.
Chris says, I'd rather watch paint dry or my cat licking itself than watch either soccer or golf.
I'll go with that.
Dean says, I'm trying to do it Brazilian style. Sorry. Barracuda says, I know pretty much nothing about rugby. Never been interested in sports that don't involve wheels. Firefly says, you know how I know you're gay? When you look at me, your lower lip trembles. Ooh, cute Firefly. Triple says 2004 Forerunner.
There are probably some here that have been imported over the years. People have bring all of the crap from the United States into Mexico. All of it.
This is car racing because all other sports use just one ball.
All? Do they all just use one ball? No, they use more balls in golf. If you lose it, you can bring out another one.
At a time.
He didn't say at a time.
I mean Quidditch.
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 Really? Ay, 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 ay.
Bueno, pues ya me callo. Rafa says it was from the 40-year-old Virgin movie. They have a whole back and forth about it.
I haven't seen that movie in a long time.
Glenn says, so Chris, one has a soccer ball, another has a golf ball, and the last has a four ball. Triple says, that's a cheap Wagoneer.
It's a Rambler Wagoneer, yes.
Jewa says, any racing in Mexico for real, like they show in Fast and Furious movies?
Racing. I don't know.
You mean like
I'm sure
in a
there's. I mean,
track? You have tracks.
yeah, there's quarter-mile tracks here, but I don't know about round track racing. I'm sure there's some. There's got to be.
Barracuda says, except for surfing, but I wouldn't do it. Scared of sharks.
They're just waiting for you, Barry. They're waiting for you.
No, don't scare him more. He's gonna have a nightmare. Boy California says, pool has more than one ball at a time.
Yes, but is
Fair,
is
fair.
pool a sport?
Well, depends on who you ask.
Now we're gonna have to define what a sport is.
Super says, got it on. Uh, couldn't unplug the tubing completely. We'll see if it works eventually.
As long as it looks good, Thunderbird.
JY says, street racing like legal. I mean,
Probably.
probably, yeah. Ian says, swim with the sharks.
I don't know of any channel that records it and puts it out, so we wouldn't really know. I mean, we've got a perfect right down the street here. It's a fairly new road. It's perfect straight line, right? Going down to
I
the
do hear an engine every Saturday or every
yeah.
Sunday. I do hear an engine go by, like the revving engine and then the high
Hmm.
speed. But I don't know. Ian says that exhaust is huge. Well, I'm gonna say it like that because I don't know how you say it.
I thought this was a nice looking Gremlin until the hood opened. Unfortunately,
Ian says, and it really is in Mexico. Barracuda says, I don't want a shark to eat me, but I like eating sharks.
Well, they know that.
Silverlock says, don't go by the Olympics. Sport can be anything.
This is an interesting interior, like the Gremlin has, but unfortunately, under the hood tells the story. I haven't sold a Gremlin yet.
I'm confused as to why you're misspelled, Dean.
I don't know.
JY says, has Tony and Kiwi ever watched or been on the live here? I don't think I ever seen them here. They should support you as you support them. Um,
Tony's been here once, I think.
I don't remember, honestly.
See, this tells the story. The car was originally white, and they painted this weird blue aqua color or something on it. So the car would have to go back to white, unfortunately.
Dan says,
It's a
spicy.
stick shift though, so it's worth it.
Dan says,
Kiwi, yeah, Kiwi's been here. Yeah,
Dean says, Mako is a nice stage barracuda. Chris says, Kiwi has been here before.
yeah, he's been here.
Pablo says, the next thing I will order to play with is a watch from Factor Computer. When I will let Flybaby have it so I can teach her how to get an AI to program it for her. She needs to learn this stuff.
Does she though?
Dan says, nice air filter. Dean says, UTG and Kidos split through.
I'm gonna have to ask Kathy if Tony's gonna be doing Sunday lives because it's been what 3 weeks now that he hasn't. 2 weeks? No, 3 weeks that he hasn't. So I just want to know so I don't have to keep refreshing the page looking for him.
Chris says, lol, there are Kiwis and then there's Kiwi. No offense, guys.
Yeah, one I like, one I hate.
I,
You guys know which one I hate.
I think he meant Kiwi that's from the New Zealand.
No, he meant fruit.
No.
Yes.
Kiwi is from New Zealand and Kiwi is like the person.
Yes, he's from New Zealand.
Yeah, I don't mind. Dean says Eugene, no. Uh, Barracuda says, I'd like to try mako shark. I've only had elephant fish and rig.
I don't think you'd like the taste of a mako shark because it's gonna taste like fiberglass.
JY says, ever found a rare matching number car for cheap? Maybe a car seller wasn't aware it was rare. Dean says, and gooseberries.
I wouldn't look for matching numbers.
But
That wasn't a thing here.
Butterfly says, first project for her. A watch that makes Star Wars blaster sounds when you punch with it. It was an accelerometer to sense movement.
Oh, okay.
City Burlock says, there's one here but a Jeep Wagoneer. Jewa says, I like kiwi and kiwi fruit.
That makes one of us.
I haven't had it in a while, so I don't remember. Like years.
Let's keep it that way.
City Burlock says, Miguel, do you hate Jar Jar Banks?
Binks. His name was Jar Jar Binks. And no, I don't hate him. I've never met him.
Barracuda says, there are New Zealanders and there are Aucklanders. Lester says, it was a surprise to see Tony and John Wilburn alive.
Yeah, it was because we didn't even know they were talking to each other. And then he does the trivia questions, and John doesn't make things easy on the trivia.
Dean says, but kiwi had a funny accent and kiwi fruit tastes um,
Bloody
bloody
horrible.
horrible, according to Mexican Spectre.
Yes,
Dean says,
in my opinion.
Dorklanders Berkla. JY says, Barry didn't Auckland just win the soccer over Sydney team? Well done. Chris says, so Aucklanders are a special breed of New Zealanders? Barracuda says, Kiwi says some words the Aucklander way.
I don't think we know the difference, Barracuda.
Barracuda says, oh no, green floor mats.
They're easily taken out. trashed. Like I was telling Mrs. Spec that if I go, she's not going to be able to go, but if I go with my friend to pick up a Volkswagen Combi, liquid cooled, the windshield is the front of the vehicle. So I think the phone would overheat really quickly on the lives.
I was thinking about that.
I mean, really quickly, because we're going to be driving right into the sun.
So the windshield is this, right?
Yep.
This is the inside.
Mm-hmm.
So I was thinking, the mirror, the dash mirror is over here. So we could put the phone over here, like right against the roof, so it will get the shade from the roof.
Okay. I don't know if that'll work.
I'm hoping. I mean, I'll have to try it to see if it works, but I'm hoping that will work. I will give it enough shade, and you will give it.
But they're gonna see a really high.
They will nah.
It's gonna be really high because yeah, the Volkswagen van sits up high, and they're gonna see a really high image.
You could point it low. The you can aim it low, and you can make it. You can zoom it a little bit. You can make it work. I think you can make it work. I was thinking about that right now.
Barracuda, not sure about that, Jay. Buddy, I won on Tony's live. Yeah, that was weird.
What you won?
He won 2 T-shirts,
Oh, cool.
I think, or something like that. Being Tarawango way. He is outside of the Bombay Hills. Key lime floor mats. Biofly. Is it the same color as your pie?
Joe says Canadian people sound funny too. Listening to how they say about is so funny.
A boot. With 2 O's. A boot. See, how did they start saying it like that?
Chris says to Dean, so they have a unique accent, maybe in the same way somebody from New York City or Boston here has a unique accent.
I wouldn't call their accents unique.
Dean says the Aucklanders are always guilty of ball tampering. Jay Wise, they blame the Aussies of being dirty players. Regular says, would you like a couple of examples, Chris? Jay Wise says, Barry, Auckland beats Sydney for the A-League. I follow it sometimes as I like to visit Australia a lot. And Chris says to Barracuda, sure, always interested in learning more about New Zealand. And Jay Wise is laughing with Dean. Dean says nowhere as cool as the Boston and other 13 founding states.
Colonies. The original colonies. Picking up some noise.
Maybe the chair that you were.
I don't know. I think it's picking it up from the wind over there.
You were moving on the chair and making noise.
That's not it.
Do it.
It didn't match.
Chris is the Dean. Absolutely, the original colonies rule. Breaker says nobody.
Just because you live in one.
Breaker says nobody parking their car in my yard. What?
He doesn't know the accent, buddy.
City Bulldog says nice tires. Bagla says be right back. Dean says let the British Empire take note. Chris.
Barracuda. Kiwi says ooze instead of US. Us. That's an Auckland upper class thing. I've also noticed he says always instead of always. We'll straighten him out, Barry. Jay Weiss. What seats you like the best? Cloth, leather, vinyl? Cloth is the best, of course. We live in very hot climate. Cloth is best. No burning butt. No ass on fire.
Hmm?
Joey.
No, I'm not gonna eat your chili.
Oh, this is a nice Mustang.
Give it to me.
Why are you eating more? I should have stomped on it with my foot. Chris says to Barry, I'm not going to lie. It's a lot easier for me to understand what Kiwi says than Granddad's junk. And Barry says, Kiwi is a good guy. Dean says he likes Naugahyde.
What is Nagahide?
It's like a fake leather.
Oh, is this
Or a
thing that
real
you
leather.
drive the cars with?
No.
Oh.
But he says, Valley girls in California spoke worse than people in Boston. That is absolutely true. It didn't last very long. Thank whoever, but could not stand that listening to that walking around school and the girls were talking that crap, thinking they're cool. Oy.
Joe says Barry, he might lose the accent soon. Once you live somewhere outside and don't talk to other Kiwi people, you will lose the accent.
He talks to his wife still, so he's still practicing that.
The Burlock says, is Buff here still?
Buff never was.
Kim was here.
Kim was here and told us that he's laying down.
Dean says, be careful how you say it, Barracuda. Barracuda says, us instead of us. Buff the Campos here.
Hello, Buff.
Says, I'm here,
I may not be in your live tonight because I have to take Mrs. Spec out to buy her hot dog and corn and whatever else.
Oh, I get multiple stuff.
And because we were donated to last week, and that was the deal, even though we haven't seen any money. You know how it is. So maybe I'll catch it when we get back.
Simano says, hola, reconvened at 1776 bar and grill for dinner.
Oh, good. What are we having? Buffering. We don't see any buffering. You see any buffering?
No.
It's
Lester,
all you, Chris.
Lester says, buddy, do you park your car in your barn?
Ka. It's pronounced ka.
I don't know what you guys are talking about.
That's the Boston accent.
Dean says, sucks instead of sex. That's why it's more fun with Kiwis. Bafla says the kids are in the yard, not far from the car.
You're adding the R's. They don't have R's in Boston.
Well, then you
The
say.
kids are in the yard, not far from the car.
Okay.
There's no R's in Boston. They cannot say Monterey at all there. They would just fall flat on their face.
Chris says that is so grody. What is grody?
One of the terms that they came up with for the Valley Girl crap.
Okay.
Grody.
Monica says yes. Chris says to Dean, I'm not supposed to know how to spell it since I'm on the other side of the continent. Barracuda says, way down the bottom of the South Islands, they roll the R's like Americans. Sometimes to do with them being from Scotland.
Chris, the Valley Girl thing infected the whole country, so you're not exempt.
Dean says, I only hear Buddy Carfano's finely crafted New England accent.
How do you like a nice, clean Caribe with those wheels on it and rubber band tires? Caribe. It's a Valley Girl word. I definitely don't need to be told that. To be in high school, in a school that has a lot of actor kids there, when the movie came out, Valley Girl, they adopted all of that crap like it was their original language. All followers, very few leaders. Dean, it's a Caribe. Caribbean for you English speakers.
above the campus says, but in Boston, the R's where there are no R's. Example, Florida
Florida. That's supposed to be the state of Florida.
for the car.
Flow Rider, wasn't that a rap guy, a rap artist? Flow Rider.
Public Americans will roll their R's.
If they're Jewish, they do.
Tribulus says, send a link to Miguel. Should send you. It's a Chinese stamping plant. Make retro parts for Toyota Land Cruisers. 280C 6668 Mustangs.
Hmm. Wonder how accurate they are.
Dean says, like those dung beetles. Carib.
Caribe, with an E on the end.
Babla says, actor kids.
Yeah. And kids of actors, too.
Chris says, I was in high school in the 1980s. None of the girls had the Valley Girl accent.
That's interesting. Was that 1983, Chris? It may have been done by the time you were in there. Chris says, love the Caribe, don't care for the tires. They can be switched out easily, Chris. No problem when you buy the car.
Maricula says, young Auckland girls tend to talk like Valley girls these days.
What a shame. Tell them not to.
Dean says, we were doing it in Alexandra in 1983. Our 4 AFS students were from California.
Yeah, they infected your school too.
Dean says, Flow Rider.
Yeah.
Buffett says, I've always been fond, sorry, fond of a Scottish accent.
A very thick Scottish accent. But they have their own words for things too. Lester says, you are right, Buff. They use the R they drop in words that don't have it. JFK used to say, Coober. Harry says, they were only other boys at my high school. Well, that makes a difference. Boys didn't go in too much for that stuff. Not commenting on the intelligence level of the girls in 1983, but still. JY says, do you remember that live you did with Tony, but you didn't show your face? Just had the Mexican Spec logo. Are you gonna are you going back one day again? And when was that? Years ago? It's been a few years. Yeah, because it was, what holiday was it? Thanksgiving? What holiday was it? It was one of the
I
holidays.
think so. I think it was Thanksgiving.
And Fubar never showed up. And I'm thinking maybe because his name's Fubar, effed up beyond all recognition. Does that mean what he looks like? I don't know. He wouldn't even return Kathy's messages. And I don't think Zero would be on there now because he has a new job and he's working, leaving really early and coming back late, so he doesn't have a lot of time.
What are they doing with my water?
I don't know.
Here, cool.
Chris says 83 to 87. The Valley Girl thing wasn't a thing in our area. No, maybe it was dying out. Firefly. I may think I could actually understand true Scottish. Dean says to Chris, you had alpha males in the clique. And CD Burlock, Miguel, they take original parts from old cars and 3D scan them, do a rough CNC and finish by hand. Yeah, but I'm talking about body gaps and stuff like that. So I wonder how accurate they are, how good the work is. It is China after all.
Dean says, another cog in the murder machine? Another wheel in the murder machine? Another
That's a
cog?
cog. That's a cog.
It's a cog.
Yeah. I got a lot of compliments on this van when I published it. Even Luis left a message.
Argula says, my high school was like an old-fashioned English school, very strict, and they beat you with a length of cane. Oh.
As it should be.
No.
Yes, there were so many kids in my school that needed to be beat. So many of them.
Pablo says 3D scanners are pricey, but are getting cheaper. Yeah.
Hmm. Look how clean that roof is. You could not restore a van like this for what they're asking for it. And it would be a great cross country vehicle with new tires. I don't think the tires are any good. Now I can see that it still needs a little bit of work. The captain's chairs that are behind the driver's captain's chairs were not assembled correctly. The backs are a little bit crooked, and the rear ladder is not very straight. But paint looks really nice, and that's a hard paint job.
Oh, sorry. Papa says roof with an escape hatch, no less.
That's not an escape. You know where they had? That's where you put the vent on the roof. You know, to vent out the bad air. They just never put it in that van.
JY says Irish speak a different language to English. JFK was Irish American, so would have a different accent when speaking English. Ancestry plays a part. All Italian people use hands have accents today. City Burlock says they assemble a car body complete afterwards to test fitting match.
Well, that'd be nice.
Josh Hellman is here.
Hello, Josh.
Hey Josh, they say good to be here. Dean says Billy Connolly and Jerry Jeff Rafferty. Dean says favorite Scots. Thunderbird says
But their names aren't Scott. They're Bill and Jerry.
stop it. Thunderbird says I love it when you plan to get a bunch of done, but they send you the wrong part.
I don't love that at all, which is why I don't like buying things online. I like going to the store and matching it up.
Pablo says yep, the bubble bed.
I've had to buy stuff online though.
Chris says I went to Catholic high school. The dean of boys was an ex-marine drill instructor. When he yelled, you could hear him hundreds of feet away.
Chris, when I went to work at the Chevy dealer, the guy that was running the parts department used to be a drill instructor in the Marines. And he yelled for his whole career in the Marines. So in the parts department, you could barely hear him speak. He had such a soft voice. He never raised his voice at anybody. He says that part of his life was done. You could, and I ended up, he had an apartment that he rented me the other room. Very, very nice guy. I wouldn't even think that he was, I mean, he had the look that he was a drill instructor, but he never raised his voice. He was such a nice guy. And I couldn't imagine him in there like that, in the Marines yelling at people.
Dean says, Josh Homan, great that you brought your whole self. JY says, Bill Connolly is still alive. I remember his trip across USA. Cool. Dean says, those kids again, Chris. Josh Homan says, I always do bring my full self. Don't have a choice in that department. Wildfly says, hey, driveway. Private Pile, how in hell did you dodge a coat hanger for 9 months only to fail now? Chris says, Josh Homan, so you're saying you never have asked anything? Marquilla says, Jonathan is very Scottish too, but they don't roll their R's there for some reason. Dean says he has Parkinson's, but he's still fighting fit.
Fighting
Yay.
it.
Fighting it. Dean says, G Sarge Shazam. JY says, drill sergeant, you mean dentist?
Not quite, Jay.
Firefly says, I like Googling drill instructor insults. It is awesome.
Yeah. But this guy just said, I am not raising my voice anymore. I am not. Didn't matter how mad he got or anything, he just would not do it.
Firefly says, oh no wait. Joshua says, I do that all the time.
How do you start a Facebook group where other people can post? You know how to do that?
Facebook group where all people.
Yeah, because I want to do a Facebook group on these carryalls, the Mexican carryalls. Because the one that I was posting in, he won't post my stuff anymore. He won't approve it. Or he put me on approval or whatever, and he won't do it.
No sé, bebé, yo de Facebook
And that was
no.
the one that Josh was in too.
A Facebook yo no le muevo.
Oh, I don't know.
No sé, tendrías que moverle tú.
Josh says, I do that all the time. But drill
I
instructor
already did that.
punishments get crazier.
Dean says they banished all the art rollers to Gore and Kelsey Barracuda. Then they flooded Kelsey and sent the Gore people to Mormon missionary schools, and you find them door knocking in San Francisco.
Oh, those poor guys.
JY says, Dean, yeah, sad to hear that about Bill, but he's funny though. He's a funny guy. Dan says, Grandma was slow, but she was old. Barracuda says, that's interesting, Dean. Dean says, hi, I'm Brother Dinglish from Gore.
Chris says, same reason Bob Ross was so soft spoken. He was in the Marines and never wanted to raise his voice again afterwards. Yeah. This guy had a really, he looked like a mafia guy, let's put it that way. And he was trying to get in, to those kind of movies and stuff. And he moved out when he got back in touch with his high school sweetheart and got with her, and her kids were doing some movies and stuff. So I guess he got into it that way.
JY says, Real Sergeant sounds like a cool name for a VHS uh, pornography video.
I'm sure they're out there, Jay. No.
Try it.
No. He says Jonathan Wass could be good in Gao. I had a guy on Facebook. His only comment was, "This can't be a 4-speed." And when I asked him, "Why not?" He wouldn't. He didn't answer me. I want to know why he thinks this cannot be a 4-speed. Does he mean it can't be a manual, or it has to be a 5-speed? I wanted him to clarify his comment. This car surprised me because number one, it has cornering lights. Number two, it has Twilight Sentinel, which is something that you don't find in Mexico. It has a few extra options that is shocking to see in Mexico. Chris says to Dean, "Hey, I have a copyright on the term Dinglish. You owe me royalties." Send it in the mail, Dean. It'll get there sooner or later. Jay says, "You guys eating beef jerky? Where did that come from?"
What? Who is eating beef jerky?
You guys eating beef jerky?
No, I'm eating amaranth. It's amaranth cubes with honey and some nuts. But he doesn't want to try it.
No.
It's really good.
You pound of flesh, euro.
You pound of flesh. It's an insult.
I'll pay in tea taxes. You're from a different country, Dean. That was not who the Tea Party was about.
Chris says, "Yep, it's here."
What are we having, Chris?
After this Twilight Sentinel, how old?
Yes, how odd.
Odd.
A lot of the Thunderbirds and Cougars had that. They had all of those options on it over there. It's just so weird to see it in a Mexican vehicle. But he says probably only knows U.S. cars. Yeah, that's why I wanted him to answer me why, because it's very clear in my write-up that it's a Mexican spec car made in Mexico with Mexican parts.
Jay was leaving. They say, "Get around, guys. May the force be with you." Star Wars code. Okay.
We'll see you later, Jay.
But it's not May 4th anymore. But thank you. Dean is saying something weird.
Peso divided by 17 divided by 2 equals a pound. I think you're way off on that calculation, Dean. Biofly says, the key lime pie murdered my appetite. Too much sugar. There's no such thing as too much sugar, Biofly. No such thing. They say when you get older, you eat less sugar. That has never been the case with me. Never. My taste never changed. I want my Fruity Pebble cereal all the time. It's just too expensive here. Anyways, may the 4th be with you.
I already read that.
No. Up there is "May the Force be with you." He says, "May the Fourth be with you."
Yeah.
Star Wars forever. New movie drops soon. No thanks.
Dean says, "Yeah, we love you just the way you are." Chris says, "Chicken pesto pizza from my proper Italian pizza shop." Oh,
That sounds good.
that sounds good.
What kind of sauce?
Pesto.
I don't know what that is.
It's like a mixed greens blended.
Okay. So it's not the regular pizza sauce.
No.
It's best with barbecue sauce, chicken and barbecue sauce with the mozzarella cheese. That is so good. I'll risk not using the bathroom for a month to eat that.
JY says, "Dean, you're a sweet man, like a kiwi." Firefly says, "My wife has taken your side, my Spec. Blasphemy."
What side? She doesn't like key lime pie, or she likes sugar.
Dean says, "Ouch, roundhouse punch."
This is a car that I would really like to have myself. This is an earlier 1988 version, 2.8 with I think it's a 4-speed manual because I think the 5-speed came out in '89. But it is such a clean car for such a low price. Jay Weiss, I thought Jay Weiss was leaving. Quick one. What do you think about Taco Bell? It's not authentic Mexican. I wouldn't know. I never went to it when I was there, and we don't have anything like that here. It wouldn't sell here. It wouldn't. People go to local taco places and get fresher food than anything Taco Bell could come up with. Bean. But after being consumed, kiwis are as bitter as pippy husks. Firefly. The sugar side of the force. Yes. Yes, definitely. And I'm lucky that Mrs. Spec doesn't like it, and either does my son. So it's all mine. All mine.
Yeah, whenever I make chocolate dessert, he knows it's all yours.
Yep. Buff wishes he could eat sugar, Oreos, Captain Crunch, ice cream. You know, I didn't like Captain Crunch because it always ripped up the top of my mouth.
Um,
I didn't like that. The only cereal I can really eat now is gluten-free cornflakes. So I get out the sugar and I'll make it frosted flakes if I have, as the best I can.
Chris says he makes the pesto from scratch too, so he doesn't like store-bought pesto. That's a
Not if
meme.
it's a real Italian pizza place.
That's a meme. Dean says only Oreos. Firefly says 2.8 liter with the flat top intake manifold. Good for
This
setting your tools on.
this one doesn't have the flat top. It has the other style, that what you're looking at right here. But it's a really nice car. It's a Eurosport manual transmission in a Sierra. You will never see one of those in the U.S. And it's clean too, inside and out. So I'm gonna have to publish that one. Nice wheels, nice everything. I got a guy that wants an '89 Celebrity 4-speed. It's a 5-speed manual in the '89, but every one I show him, like this one here, this red one, he says it looks a bit beat up because of the wheels. It's got dark tint, got all kinds of things. He doesn't like it. And the white one I showed him says he liked that one, but he doesn't want another white Celebrity. So
Fernando says, cheesy bread, lasagna for main course. Oh, I want lasagna.
I haven't had lasagna in decades.
Dean says, he's singing. I don't know what he's singing. Danny says, Renault Alliance.
Renault Alliance. I had one of
Alliance.
those. I had two of those actually.
Butterfly says, oops, pause it too soon. Josh Homan says, Captain Crunch came with that nice whistle that allowed you to get the free phone calls.
Was that free in the box?
Butterfly says, the X manifold.
Yeah.
Dean says,
In '88, yes.
Dean says, I will be your knight in shining armor coming to your food rescue. Josh Homan says, never did it myself, but heard some guys that did. Butterfly says, the X manifold disappeared in the States in 1986.
But not in Mexico. I mean, the red one's a pretty nice car, but he thinks it looks a little beat up. Maybe from the seats.
Dean says the rocking chair seats are great. Mexican expected.
Rocking chairs.
Rocking chairs.
Yeah, we could take the tint off. That's easy. Yeah.
Policarpana says tint and rims easily removed.
Yes, very easy.
Papa says phone freaking with the capped crunch free toy whistle.
But it has to be a 59. It has to be an 89 because he wants the 5 speed. He lives in Connecticut, so it has to be fuel injected. And the 86 in Mexico still had a carburetor, but the 86 I've seen here, the models I've seen like 3 of them. It has the ultra rare tack right behind the steering wheel, right under the instrument panel on the dash. There's a tachometer there that was in very few celebrities over there, and it came on the 86 models here.
Papa says 2,600 hertz. Joshua says, no, I believe I would pick up your phone, blow the whistle into it, and it would screw up the phone company's computers and you would get a free call.
You mean like at a payphone?
Chris says, Lee Stevenson, #1 for spelling armor, or +1 for spelling armor correctly. Bowfly says the 2600 is the title of a hacking magazine.
I wouldn't know. That would be illegal. I wouldn't know. I'm not admitting anything.
Dean says it was accidental, Chris.
I know before you say anything, this is a 1990 Ram Charger with a 1991 grill, but nobody sells the 1990 grills here. They only sell the 1991. So if you need a grill, you have to put the 91 on there. And it looks good.
Bowfly says any phone. Joshua says no, at home.
Well, wouldn't you get a free call at home anyway?
No, they charge you.
You mean long distance?
Any phone.
No, they don't charge you any calls.
Dean says Robert 2600, a way of hacking British Leyland. Joshua says it was a trend back in the 80s. Of the campus is Bowfly. I knew a woman that was a phone freak. She had a whistle and a special box with many tones. Bowfly says, oh, neat. Dean says the whirlpool of death. Whirlpool of death.
Whirlpool. Okay. Notice the steering wheel. If this was a US truck, it would have cruise control right there on the steering wheel. That was not a thing in Mexico. It would be rare to see any vehicle with cruise control in Mexico around this time frame in the 90s.
Keep an eye on the chat while I go put your wings in the oven.
Okay. Also, no airbags in these. Even the later ones.
No airbags.
No.
How dare they?
This is a very clean Ram Charger. But you guys have a lot of Ram Chargers in the US already, so it's hard to sell one of these, especially a 2-wheel drive. CD Burlock, was the Century the same as that Chevy body-wise? No, it had a different shape on it. It's basically the same car, but they each had their different body on there, the different body lines. Each one of them was different, from Pontiac to Oldsmobile, Buick, Chevy. Firefly, hacking the phone system with the Captain Crunch whistle is just a good story. Such a good story. Free calls anywhere, when Ma Bell was still a greedy monopoly. Paco Alpha, ¿cómo está el clima por allá? ¿Por dónde andan ustedes por acá? En la frontera, una tormenta acaba de terminar ahorita. Tenemos como 1 hora ya que se fue la luz, el agua y todo tumbó. Era muy fuerte. No, nada más tenemos calor aquí. Tenía nubes todo el día, pero no es una tormenta aquí. Estamos cerca del agua, pero no tenemos una tormenta aquí. Si llega la lluvia, se lava mis carros, pero no nada así. Nada más mucho calor. Mucho calor. How do you like this one, Chris? Porsche, Porsche wheels, Porsche steering wheel on a Beetle panel van. Anna, there's a storm up where Paco Alpha is. Can you hear me? You can't hear me. There's a storm where Paco Alpha is, and really strong. He doesn't have any electricity. Dan says, what the fuck? CD Burlock, my friend hacked the phone with a Tandy handheld computer. Dean goes right through to a hot Irish chick at DBC air conditioning. Is Mex having a stroke? No, that's called Spanish, Barracuda. It's Spanish. I do speak Spanish, you know. I live in Mexico. And I'll take the compliment from the taxi driver that I speak better Spanish than he does. I know he's lying, but I'll take it anyway. Because I was just told again when I was at the post office today, a woman standing there says, "You've been here a long time. You still have the accent from over there." But yeah, well, it doesn't go away. Dan says, "Oi, yeah, I can't read that." Ah, the Tandy T100 computer with built-in modem, complete with handset cups. Spanglish. No, it was real Spanish. I didn't mix in any English words, Dean. Not sure about the Porsche thing. Chris, this would be a delivery car for the Porsche dealership. That's what it would be. But he put a lot of Porsche parts on it, not on the engine, but and it looks like it has a side draft carburetor because it has the cover. And I can't publish this on YouTube because the pictures were taken by a photography studio, and they're not they're not mine to do with what I want. This is fine, but I can't publish them on YouTube. Barracuda says, "Shouldn't you be speaking Mexican?" There's no such thing as Mexican, Barracuda. Firefly, I miss the days of early hacking. It must have been exciting to actually get something done and then worry about somebody knocking on your door. Firefly confirms Spanish was spoken. Barracuda, Chris F speaks American. He speaks New Yorkan. Dean Stevenson, no, I'm not eating.
No, but then you're gonna eat on what you're going to eat.
Dean Stevenson, Spanglish as she was spoke. Firefly says, just not the lousy Castilian Spanish they teach in school. Isn't that what we speak here? Castilian? Yeah, that's what we speak here. Firefly, give or take. Chris says the Firefly, those Tandy 100s had a serious cult following. People used them for a really long time after they went out of production. When's the last time you guys saw a Ford Taurus? And of course, because it's a Mexican car, it has a Mercury. It's a Mercury Sable, but they put the Ford Taurus emblems on it. And over in front where it says Mercury in the bumper, there's supposed to be a Ford cover on it. Right there on the front where it says Mercury. There's supposed to be a cover over it.
Where are you?
Let's see. Buddy Carfano says Sable. It's a Taurus here.
Okay. Chris says very good. I speak Great Lakes English. Papa says yes.
That's to say, it sounds like you're underwater.
Papa says yes, very much so. I couldn't afford one. Dean says, unlike the English, Spanish speakers don't try to trash everything.
Well, that depends who you talk to here.
Yeah,
because no, they have lower class stuff here too. Like every other word says way, stuff like that.
No, we do have so many. Like, if you try to learn Spanish, they will ask you if are you using it for because you're going to a specific country. Because if you learn Spanish, you it's best if you learn it from a specific area because there's so many different Spanish. Baba says, wait.
No, CD Burlock.
City Burlock says this Russian girl paused her video after they are translated to English by Google Translate. It is good grammar too.
Oh, then it's pretty advanced. Google Translate.
Dean says Upers. Where's Upers?
The people that live in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan.
Joshua says some years. Pablo says Mexican Spanish is different than Castilian Spanish, which is from Europe. Okay, yeah, they're definitely different. Dean says a Ford Tourist is that is like a Ford Pro.
No,
Joshua says been a long time since I ran into one of these cars.
it's probably because it's the last one that has a working transmission. But look at the interior in it. This is a really plush interior they put in this car here. I don't think they put an interior like this in the U.S., even in the Mercuries.
Firefly says use of Korean Spanish is different too, slightly. Not slightly, it's a lot different.
Yeah, the Spanish is different all over Mexico. I couldn't understand people in Mexico City.
Yeah. Believe says the last time I saw a Taurus was on a legit streetcars YouTube channel in person. I don't remember.
It's been a long time.
Bafla says there are sub dialects all over the place. Learner beware.
Yeah.
Dean says Night Castile, the guy who made the great soap. Chris says Dean, Upers are the residents of an upper peninsula of Michigan. Accent is a little different. Dean says, the you people. But the says, wonder if has JBL radio in Taurus.
I don't know. I didn't look at the radio, but it was basically a Sable that they put Ford Taurus on the back of it, and then on the front bumper where it says Mercury, they had a factory a cover over it that said Ford, and of course it fell off over the years. So, but that's basically all it is, and a Ford steering wheel. Other than that, it's a Mercury Sable with the light bar in the front, and all of those bulbs need to be changed because they need to be white. They shouldn't be amber like that.
Dean says because people in Mexico City are high as F.
In probably two ways, yes.
Yeah.
The elevation is pretty high there.
Papa says Fly Mom is from Peru, so my Spanish is just not very good. Having found lots of contradictions in that language. Yeah.
There's different words for different things, and you can't really say one's correct, one's not, depending on where you live.
Bob the Campo says I had a Sable wagon with a leather interior. It was the most comfortable car I've ever had.
Was the leather interior like that one, the really plush where you sink into it and never want to get out of it?
Trevor says Dean, a Pro is two-door only. Mazda assembled here. Mazda engine. Dean says Sable hat, a cover popped onto a tourist.
Wildfly will be right back. Hopefully he'll bring some chocolate pie to make up for that green stuff that he had earlier.
No, he can bring me chocolate key lime pie.
How could you enjoy eating key lime pie? Number one, it's green, and number two, it tastes like lime.
I like lime. He says Taurus Sable is slowly getting it to the bulldog. I'm slowly getting it. Of the Campo says it was plush, but it was dark green.
That would have been really nice.
Mark Sabez says I worked at a Ford dealer back in the days of those lit up grills. I think the bulbs were a special number. It's been a while.
Probably, but they need to be white. I don't like amber. It needs to be white.
Molly Carafano says Buff would want the amber lights and grill.
Why? White looks better. White looks like a headlight going all the way across, like a spaceship.
Silver says Dean, never heard of a tourist.
Maybe he means transit. Ford Transit van. But to tell you something, that's the first Taurus Sable that I have seen. In besides, there was a wagon that was for sale for a while, but that's the first one I've seen in years advertised for sale. And they did sell them here. They were not cheap because they were the Mexico's luxury car, but I haven't seen one even advertised, even junk, in a long, long, long time. So I posted it. So I brought it here.
Barracuda says potatoes are from Peru. All potatoes?
I'm not sure I would want to post that car for sale in case the transmission is no good. Because I remember it being $2,500 to rebuild that transmission. So I stayed away from them at dealer auctions too. Just never went near them. I put some Ram chargers in here.
Notice. Public Campus System Marks Bay, there were special bulbs in R94 could be forged in. I put amber bulbs in mine.
See, then Buddy was right. I like it looking like a full length headlight in the front. Full length.
Papa says, haters precious? Hmm? I'm confused.
I think I put exactly 2 hours of pictures in here.
Dean says, Taurus, tourist. I'll remember that.
It was a Taurus, which is a bull, Dean. A tourist is just a nosy person you don't want around. Did you see they're coming out with or they're planning or something, a new Ram Charger 4-door SUV based on the new Ram trucks? I wonder if that's going to hurt or help me selling these second gens.
Bargola says, on all the world's KFC comes from Kentucky.
I doubt it does now. Not these days.
Dean says, especially in Ireland.
Kiddos. Especially in Michigan where Dougster is.
The Bullock says, I just saw Ford Sport 2-door, forgot they made 2-door versions.
Yeah, they did, and most of them were two-wheel drive. They're just base model. You could get the stick shift in it too.
Papa says, I will help you sell the older ones.
I hope so, because this is a pretty nice one, but it's a base model. It looks nice silver one. The wheels make it look good. Looks like it has two tail lights on it.
Chris says, the Barracuda, the KFC of today is nothing like what it originally was.
I don't think anything is like it originally was.
No.
With the this is a faster way to make it, or we can change this, or we could change that.
Barracuda says, do they really have bluegrass in Kentucky?
I've never been to Kentucky. We're gonna have to ask Dan IT guy because he lives there now.
Dean says, except for the North Korean Nogs in Gran Turismo 5.
I think that's a video game that I know nothing about.
Yeah. Dan says to Barracuda, it doesn't look that blue. I can see Kentucky from here. Steven Andrews says Mazda had a version of Explorer called the Navajo.
Yes, and that was all two doors. They never came out with a 4-door to compete with the Explorer. Ford made sure of that.
But the Carafana says should help your price is more reasonable for most people.
Well, I don't know how much the new one would be, but you can't really compare the new one to this one. But it will get the name back out there.
Dean says Kim FC. Lester says Kentucky Bluegrass is green.
Okay. That's confusing.
Barracuda says I haven't had KFC for many years. How has it changed?
Go to KFC and buy it, and you'll find out for yourself.
Wildfly says Dodge has a security lookout module in the dash designed to block scan-told access without a subscription for access. I found a bypass for it, but it is not convenient.
Well, don't put that out there publicly. You'll get Chevy to shut you down.
Dean says Mazda had an SOHC version called the Navajo. Navajo.
Navajo.
Sirandra says, wow, big rims on that Ram Charger.
Those are Ram wheels on this one.
Silverlo says Mazda had an Escape Clone 2, nicer. Firefly says they started it in 2017.
So before we get out of here, guys, I want to tell you that if anybody wants to become a member, you will be seeing videos of what we do outside of the cars to get to know us a little better. Like tonight, we're going to record what we go and buy her food and her eating it, every last little
I
drop.
know.
Yes, the members deserve it.
Me eating?
Yes. How are you going to show them making this big hot dog with all of
Why?
the,
I'm not buying a hot dog then.
with all of this stuff
No.
stacked on top, way up,
I am not buying a
and then
hot
how are
dog
you going to
then.
not show them you eating it?
I'm not buying a
Because
hot
they're
dog
going to want to
then.
know how you eat all of that.
No, I'm not buying a hot dog.
You have to.
No.
Yes.
If you're gonna show me eating it, I'm not buying a hot dog.
That's what you promised you would eat the hot dog.
No, I didn't promise I was gonna. Michael, you always get me in
Come
trouble.
on, you guys want to see her eating the
No,
hot dog?
don't rile them out. Don't put them against me. Stop it. You always get me in trouble.
What's my bread and butter, Steve? You want a Ram Charger? This is a beautiful one here. Super low miles. It's got scratches on the side there, but those are easily taken care of. And a 4-speed manual. Beautiful truck. Beautiful, beautiful truck. Yes, if you become a member, Lester, the video was already published. 4 minutes of Mexican Spec, Mrs. Spec dancing at a same-sex Mexican wedding with her friends.
With my friends.
With her friends, yes.
Chris says that sounds so wrong.
It's not a euphemism, Chris. It's an actual hot dog.
Yeah,
Stacked with a whole bunch of stuff.
I'm not. I'm gonna hate you. Stop it.
Barracuda, when I was in the US, the best thing KFC had were the nuggets. It had the original recipe on the nuggets. They were so good, but they don't sell nuggets in Mexico. It's not on the menu here.
Dean says OnlyFans channel is Mexican Spec. I mean, I would, but I'm not that good looking. Rafa says, one last joke. What do you call a white man dressed in an authentic Indian clothing? A chiro honky?
A churro honky.
Chiro honky. What's a honky?
Honky is a white guy. That's what blacks call whites.
Oh, okay. Chris says OnlyFans to Mexico. I actually don't know if you can open an OnlyFans for Mexico.
I'm sure you can. I don't see why not.
Oh, there's a lot of regulations for Mexico, so I don't know. Dan says KFC, mashed potatoes, and gravy. But you can take it to KFC.
I can't have the gravy though. I can't even walk into a KFC.
You can't eat the KFC.
I can't walk into a KFC. The gluten is all around in the air.
Very good. We can't sit down. I don't think. Maybe no. I don't know. I know you can't go to the drive-thru. The drive-thru is closed. I don't know.
Well, they're not allowing anybody into the parking lot.
No.
There's no reason to have the drive-thru open.
Very good. And they had the best bean salad I've ever had. Bean salad.
Those are words that would never come out of my mouth, Barracuda.
Dan says Ponderosa salad bars had corn relish. I sure missed them.
Ponderosa.
Dean says, I did same-sex dancing at my dad's lodge. The lodge master had a requirement to train me, but I cannot dance, and he needed medicine afterwards. What happened that he needed medicine afterwards? Chris says, ages ago, I got the nuggets at a KFC in Canada, and they were fantastic.
They're really good. I had them for lunch in Vegas a lot of days.
Firefly says, too much flour in the air at KFC.
Yeah, it's all over the place.
Yeah.
I published this. I put this Volkswagen Pointer wagon because it just looks so good that most of them don't. It has clean seats, nice red paint. Most of these have been beat into the ground. This was a smaller Volkswagen that was not sold in the US.
Paco Alfa dice, bueno amigos, me retiro porque ya la batería celular está baja y aún no llego a casa. Llegando termino de ver lo que me faltó del directo. Saludos, que todo vaya bien. Muchas gracias, Paco, por acompañarnos.
Y cuídate. Cuídate mucho.
Y nos mandas lluvia. Mándanos lluvia para acá.
El viento no, pero la lluvia sí.
Sí.
Buenas noches. And these are advertisements for the carry-alls. the last pictures, you'll see they're just right. They're like using it as a family thing. But this one shows it. It starts as a half cab and chassis, and then the conversion company builds either a panel truck or the window truck there. And then this is from a different country. I think this was from Brazil or something. Because these are not these are bump sides, but they're not Mexican trucks because we didn't have this. So
Dan
back
said,
to the beginning.
sorry, Dan says those crazy floor mats like the green ones earlier.
To keep your carpets clean, of course. People get dirty, there's dirt roads everywhere around here. So I think we're pretty much done. They saw all the pictures, all of the Volkswagens, all of the vehicles, even the early ones, the 20 model.
Dan says Brazil used to bump side up into the 1990s, I think.
Yeah, they use it much longer than Mexico did. Mexico basically changed the model when the U.S. did, but they did it in their own way. They didn't put any side marker lights on the bed, all kinds of stuff like that, because that wasn't a thing here. And the taillights that were in it in 1974, 1975, I think was the new big taillights for the pickup trucks. They didn't use those here. They skipped from the small taillights of the 67 model to the new taillights of the 1980 model.
Dan says Don is in California. Barracuda says Dean, the first KFC in Dunedin was on Anderson Bay Road. I suppose it's still there. And later there was one at Roslyn closer to home for me.
I always got sick eating KFC, but I always went back for the because it tasted so good. Not only the original recipe, but the crunchy. It was both good. I had better teeth back then too.
What is it called here? It's not original. It's called something secreta.
Yeah, the
Secreta.
secret recipe, the 16 herbs and spices.
Yeah, but I was once at KFC for some random reason because I usually don't eat there. But I was once at KFC and there was a woman speaking Spanish, but she wasn't from Mexico because obviously that her accent was somewhere else,
Mm-hmm.
and she was asking for the secret recipe, and the girl in the counter was telling her we have receta original, and says now the secret recipe, and then she said receta original, and I went in there and it's like yeah that's the same thing. It's just called different in English than in Spanish,
Mm-hmm.
but that's the same thing.
Yeah.
So I had to intervene and translate in continuous quotation. But
Secret herbs and spices.
Regular is in the first KFC. No, and that's second. Dan says, "Done fact.
Fun fact.
Fun fact. Colonial Sanders was related to the people who founded Lee's famous recipe.
That should say Colonel Sanders.
Colonel Sanders was related to the people who founded Lee's famous recipe." Barracuda says, "The last time I had KFC, the coating split off the chicken." Yeah, it usually does.
Mm-hmm.
Dean says,
The
"Yes."
breading, you mean?
Yeah. And Dean says, "Yes, I deliver chillers and far cats to them often, but I don't see any rats there. It is close to the morgue, Barracuda."
Okay, I think we're done here. Thank you everybody for being here, and we will see some of you tomorrow night with these very same pictures because they're still fresh, and we're going to be recording a video tonight for the members showing Mrs. Spec buying her hot dog like was promised, and whatever else she wants tonight. Because I'm going to have chicken wings right now with barbecue sauce. So I'm not going to be buying anything on the street unless it's ice creams that I can't find anymore. There's, of course, now we have a history here. Every time we find something that we like, whether it's Walmart, OXO, the little store over here, they stop selling it. There was an ice cream bar at the little store over here that's chocolate on the inside with a chocolate coating. That's what I like. I buy 3 of them. They last me the week. 2 weeks now they haven't had any. I said, you got to tell the delivery driver he's bad. He hasn't brought me any chocolate. He says, oh, I don't know if they're going to bring it anymore. So I checked OXXO over here, they don't have it. I checked another store, they don't have them. So it looks like they're not going to have them for me anymore. So then I bought some at Walmart last night that were a different brand, and I don't like them. So this has happened over and over and over again. Smuckers used to sell grape jelly here at Walmart. They don't. They did. They It disappeared from the store, and Mrs. Spec got on the phone with Smuckers here in Mexico and said, "Hey, are you bringing the grape anymore? Nope, no more grape. We're not doing grape anymore." Like, they know that I like it, so it just disappears from the stores, all stores. Luckily, I found a source at our dollar type store that has grape jelly, so I do have it. But anytime we like it or we need it, it disappears from the store. That's just how it's been over the past 20 years or so. Like gluten-free bread. Sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not. We have gluten-free pretzels that I like to eat in the truck, which I didn't this time because we were on the live. But that's what I like to eat in the truck. It's easy to eat and it's good. Can't find it in the store anymore.
Fireplace has never had a hot dog with a fork and knife. Never, neither have I. I've eaten a hamburger with a fork and knife. Dan says, I overate burritos for supper tonight. Dean says to Dan Evoid, is part Hungarian and part Sicilian, famished. Dan says, sounds like Walmart. Barracuda
But
says,
it's personal. It's not only me because she's married to me now. It happens to her too.
Dan says, no, sugars.
Like the coffee that she likes,
Yeah,
it's rarely in the store.
yeah.
And it's not. Look, the 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 maple syrup. I know it's fake, but maple syrup that I like for my pancakes, store brand, the store brand, great value, not in the store. How could they not stock their own brands? Crazy.
Dan says, Mrs. Peck won't kick you out of the truck for eating pretzels? No, why would I kick him out of the truck?
And it's my truck.
They're, no.
They don't make a mess.
Dean says, grape it if you don't belong. What? Steven says, lasagna finito. Regular says, how is that the crop of the black of back hair coming along, Dean? Chris says, can I tell a really non-PC grape joke?
You can try. Grape ape.
No.
Grape ape. Grape ape. Wonder where that came from. A purple gorilla in a children's cartoon. Grape ape. I think they had the name and then they created something to go along with the name. But didn't anybody ever ask why he's purple? I mean, today we would know why he's purple because he leans a certain way on the political spectrum. But back then, why was he purple?
I don't know what you guys are talking about.
You don't need to.
Anyway, thank you guys so much for coming. We will see you tomorrow.
Maybe. Or if Tony has a live, we'll see you tomorrow earlier. So, good night, everybody.
Thank you for coming. Bye bye.